Hello, Aubrey. How's it going?
I'm great, Jessica. How are you?
Good. I'm happy today is Friday. What are your plans for the weekend?
My niece and her husband will be here. We're going to play pickleball, and I'm making Mediterranean
Nice.
food, which I'm obsessed. I'm making
Oh,
gyros, yum, and cilantro jalapeno
delicious.
hummus. I've started making homemade hummus, Jessica.
Oh, is it easy?
It's not that hard. It's a little labor intensive, but
Hmm.
it's a lot cheaper than buying it in the store and
Yes.
delicious.
I love it. I love that as a way to save money, and I will look into it. No
Nice.
promises that I'll actually make it, though. Okay, guys, today we are talking about some uncountable noun rules. A listener wrote to us. You can write us questions like this guy did at support@allearsenglish.com. And he wrote us a fantastic letter with a fantastic question in it about something Aubrey said recently. And why is this plural? Why is this singular? So, we're going to talk about that grammar stuff today, guys. But we do want to remind you of a listening practice episode we did recently in case you missed it.
Yes, this was a great episode, 1335. Scroll up and listen if you missed it. We did a live listening practice for part 1. So if you feel like you're not getting enough listening practice for the IELTS exam, we are here for you. Check out that episode.
It's so good. And tell us if you want more episodes like that. Send us your feedback, guys. Support@allearsenglish.com. And you can always ask us questions and give us advice if you have any at wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple. Leave us a review and rating. All right, guys, let's get into this. So thank you to Natsumi Kamatani for writing into us. Um, Aubrey, can you read that first paragraph of the letter, please?
Yes. Hi, I'm Nuts in Japan. First of all, I love your nickname,
I love
Nuts.
it
That
so
is
much.
just so much fun. I'm nuts about Japan, and I love
Yeah,
that you're
me
nuts
too.
in Japan.
I'm nuts about English.
So fun. I have a question about using plural or singular forms. But before getting into the question, hear me out. How amazing you guys are. I love that.
Hear
I
me
know you
out.
heard hear me out on the podcast, and I love
So
that you
good.
used it. Well done. So fun. Your son's going to love that, Jessica. You'll have to tell him. I know he loves to say,
I
hear me
will. I
out.
will.
I've been listening to the All Ears English series for about 2 years, literally every single day. Your lessons have boosted my English knowledge, speaking skills, the way I communicate, connection, not perfection, which I love the most. I'm really obsessed with your lessons now, and I thank you in advance for answering my question. I love that this is a super fan of All Ears English. Hopefully, you're also listening to IELTS Energy, both amazing
Yes.
podcasts.
He is, because I remember the sentence that he's
Oh,
talking
you're
about
right.
is
Was
something you
from
said
IELTS
on
Energy.
this very show.
Perfect.
So Nets goes on to say, now here's my question. Most nouns are used in both singular and plural forms, and I often get confused about which one to choose. In a recent lesson, for example, Aubrey said, it's hard to generate change without 100% commitment. For example, if I only go for one walk a week, I'm not going to achieve my fitness goals. In this sentence, change is singular and goal is plural. Can I use changes or goal instead? I think that's okay, but the meaning would be slightly different. How can I gain confidence in choosing between plural and singular forms? Does this issue generate, nice, a big problem on IELTS?
Right, we see what you did there using generate because that's what
So
we were
good.
teaching with that sentence. Oh, this is such a good letter, such a good question. Thank you for sending it in, Nuts. And I'm excited about this because yes, this is a little tricky, right? Plural nouns, uncountable nouns do cause problems for students on the IELTS exam. This is a mistake that native speakers make as well. So it's not going to be a huge ding on your grammar score, but examiners will notice, and it does matter.
Oh, definitely, especially if you're using, singular instead of plural, if you're forgetting that
Right.
final S, that's very noticeable, and that's a low level mistake, right? Like, if you're making simple mistakes like that, it is gonna be hard to get a 7 for grammar. So let's tackle these questions one by one, and then, guys, we're going to remind you, review with you the rules for uncountable nouns, because these are something that you guys learned probably like a decade ago in an English classroom, and it's really hard to remember them, let alone use them correctly. So, we're going to review those in just a second. Let's take this first question. What if you change to plural and goal to singular? Would that change the meaning of the sentence?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about, right? You can say it's hard to generate changes. And in this case, I'm talking about multiple individual changes. Whereas we use the word change as an uncountable noun, we say it's hard to generate change in general, sort of on a wider scope, something sort of bigger. So it does change it a little bit. The grammar is right either way. It just sort of changes the context of what you're saying a little bit.
It does change the meaning, yeah. And then, for example, if I only go for one walk a week, I'm not going to achieve my fitness goal. Now, that sounds weird because it's singular here, right? So this means I only have one goal. And maybe my only fitness goal is to be able to run 2 miles without stopping. Then I guess that makes sense. But for the most part, we say fitness goals because not only do you want to have cardio health, but you want to build your muscles, you want to build your tone. You like there are multiple fitness goals, right? Um, so here's my advice to Natsumi. The reason why change in that sentence is singular, is because it's an uncountable noun in that sentence. It is a general non-specific idea, and that makes it uncountable, like saying information, right? It is an idea, it's uncountable. We're not talking about a specific change, right? We're just talking about change in general. Okay. And then goals, of course, is plural because it is specific. I have multiple goals, right? So singular, no S, only if you know that it's only one of these things. If you are talking about a countable noun in general or more than one, it's always plural. When in doubt, guys, put an S. You're going to be more often right than wrong if you write a plural noun instead of a singular.
That's a really good pro tip, right? When in doubt, add that S.
Yep. All right. So let's review some uncountable rules here for you guys. I think we're going to jog your memories and maybe make you think, well, I never learned that actually. So, Aubrey, what are some uncountable noun rules?
Yes. At first, I want to make sure you guys go back. We did an episode 1287. So it's back a little bit. Maybe come to the blog to find it. It was called Don't Make These Non Count Noun Mistakes on IELTS. And this was a little different. We dove into the different mistakes these uncountable nouns can make us make with pronouns and articles and subject verb agreement. There are
Mhm.
quite a few of them. So don't miss that episode, 1287. We also talked about some specific nouns: research, information, advice, knowledge, children, which are used all the time on IELTS. So make sure you have those clear. But yeah, let's dive into a little bit more the rules of uncountable nouns, because I don't think we did that in that episode, right?
We did not. We did not. We mentioned it, but did not go in specifically. So, abstract. Uncountable nouns are names for ideas, abstract ideas or ideas. They could be referring to qualities, like sweetness, um, generosity. Right? These are characteristics or qualities. They're nouns. They're uncountable. You can't count a quality. You can say you are very generous. You have a lot of generosity, but you can't say generosities, right? It's an idea, it's a quality. Or for physical objects that are too small or just cannot be counted, like a liquid. You can't count water. It's just a liquid. So liquids, gas, powders, stuff like that. Those are uncountable nouns. So let's give some examples. Now, remember, guys, uncountable nouns cannot be pluralized because you cannot count them. So we never add an S.
Yes, so uncountable nouns are used with a singular verb, right? They,
Yes.
like you said, they don't have a plural form. So, for example, coffee. If you're asked on speaking part one, if you drink coffee, right? You would say, coffee is necessary for me in the morning, because it's an uncountable noun. So the verb must be singular.
Yeah. And if you're talking about technology, software is uncountable. And that's a mistake Aubrey and I have seen a lot. Um, So software is the idea of these programs, right? It's not
Right.
like you can hold a CD anymore with like a software program on it. It's like it's different, right? So software is more of an amorphous idea, something that's always changing with many different parts. So we don't count it, okay?
Right, so
Can't
you would
pluralize
say,
it.
"I sell software," if you're talking about your job and you sell software, instead of "I sell softwares," which does seem if you're thinking of multiple different, types of software, you might make this mistake.
Yeah, totally, totally. Air is uncountable. So if you're talking about the environment or air pollution, right? We have to clean up the air, not airs, of course. Also, I want to just remind you guys that ideas are uncountable, like beauty. I want you to understand that this is such a general idea. It's an abstract concept. How can you count it? So just really ask yourself, if you're in doubt, can I count this? Can I say one beauty, two beauties? No, it's just the idea of things being beautiful, of beauty existing in the world, right? So you could say, in my country there is much beauty.
Yes, and this is where English is so tricky, and we apologize on behalf of English because some uncountable nouns are used as a count noun, like beauty. Sometimes people will be called a beauty, like she
Yeah,
is
that's
a
true.
rare beauty. These women are all such beauties. So you are maybe going to see in different contexts, but when it's used as an abstract, like Jessica's saying, right? When we're talking about the beauty of the world, here it's an
Mhm.
uncountable noun.
Exactly, exactly. And then emotions are uncountable, guys, like anger and fear. So in part two, if you're talking about how you feel about an experience, right? I felt anger. I felt fear. Cannot make those plural. Also, money is uncountable, which is weird. I know, but it is. And then a couple last words that we've seen students make mistakes: safety and evidence, guys. Those are ideas, abstract ideas, uncountable.
Awesome, guys. Come back to our YouTube channel and use these in comments, examples, right? Practice using these with a singular verb because unless you need to be reading so you're seeing them used correctly, but practice as well so you'll be ready on test day not to make these very common mistakes.
And try to use that word evidence. I love that as something for
Yes.
writing task too, right? And like Aubrey said, singular verb. So there is a great deal of evidence to prove working from home is healthier, for example.
I believe that. I'm
100%.
convinced.
All right, guys. So check out our online IELTS course, allearsenglish.com/KEYS. Check us out on YouTube for free, IELTS Energy TV. And if you also have a question, like our wonderful favorite new student, Natsumi, you can write to us at support@allearsenglish.com.
Awesome. Such a fun episode. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.